Hi, I'm Bill Hogue, Vice President of Sales and Marketing with Ohio Semitronics, and today I'm sitting with Jim Babcock, Regional Sales Manager. And on today's segment of Ask the Experts, we're going to talk about what we call at Ohio Semitronics a Y number designation. We manufacture three distinctly different types of product categories at Ohio Semitronics. One of them we call standard catalog products. And of those, we have about 8,000 in our standard published catalog. And then we have what we call modified standard, or Y numbers. And these are standard products where the customer has requested some kind of modification to the standard specification. And then we have a product category that we call custom products. But today we're going to talk about Y number products. And I'd like to ask Jim to explain a little bit about what a Y number is. Jim?
Well, it starts with a telephone call. A customer may have seen a particular product that meets their requirements, except some small change. They've looked at our website, they've looked at our catalog, and they found they've needed a voltage transducer, but it doesn't quite have the type of output that we have selectable in our catalog or at our website. We'll discuss that particular application, what the customer needs over the telephone. Typically within 24 hours or less, we're able to come up with a Y number, part number for that customer and a quotation. And if a customer needs a custom solution, likely there's a good high chance that we've already done something very similar for that customer or for that type of a product before, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. Modified standard products, the Y numbers that we do on a regular basis virtually happen on an everyday basis. We're very used to handling Y number modifications. The cost to do a Y number at Ohio Semitronics is very minimal. It may add an amount of, say, $65 to make a modification to a standard product. If a customer is looking at our website or in our catalog, they find they need something unique that we don't have as a standard product, say it's a special output or a special input or a different cable length, it's very easiest to make an adaptation to our specification and produce the Y number. We'll do Y numbers as many as 1,000 pieces, and we'll do it for just one piece. So we're very flexible in handling the Y number categories at Ohio Semitronics. Bill, as Marketing Director, can you explain how many different Y numbers that we have at Ohio Semitronics?
Well, the total amount of Y numbers that we have to cover our standard product line, I think we've mentioned several times today that we manufacture over 8,000 individual model numbers at Ohio Semitronics, or SKU numbers, stock numbers. I would say that if you combine the total number of standard part numbers with modified standard, we're probably up in the 12 or 12,500 range. So you're talking about, over the history of the company, about 4,500 different Y model numbers. And what I wanted to do today is I wanted to give you some examples of what a typical Y number request from a customer might be. This happens to be a 2,000 amp Hall effect current sensor. It's standard in our catalog, and you can see that it comes in the catalog, or the standard model is designed with a connector. We have some customers, for whatever reason, in this particular case I'm going to give you, or example I'm going to give you is for safety reasons, but we have a customer who has a specific type of cabling and a specific type of connector that they use for electrical products on an offshore drilling rig. So for safety purposes, for use in a hazardous area, they've told us, we like the current sensor the way it is, but we need a special cable adaptation. So this is a special cable, special connector assembly that's required by that customer. And it just so happens that another customer in a very similar, almost identical application, again it's offshore, they have standardized on a particular type of cabling on the platform for electrical products and a certain type of connector assembly to interface with their control system. And again, the current sensor was exactly what they wanted, but they couldn't use it in its standard form without a modification. So again, a Hall effect current sensor, 2,000 amp, two different styles when you compare it to the catalog model. I've also brought along an example of a voltage transducer. This happens to be our standard, a standard voltage transducer right out of the catalog. It's called a VT7018E, and it has a 250 millivolt input and a 4 to 20 output. And you can see that it's supplied with terminal strips for your input and output and instrument power connections. We have a customer that, for their use on board a ship, it happens to be a military customer, they required the use of these ceramic insulators and a protective cover on it. And I'm assuming it's for some kind of safety rating on board the ship. Again, we still have the terminal strip for our outputs and instrument power, but for the voltage input, which I believe is in the 600 to 800 volts, 600 to 800 volt range, DC range, they require the use of those ceramic insulators. Staying with the VT7 product line, this is a standard VT7, but what the customer asked for, as opposed to doing a panel mount, they asked us if they could mount it on a DIN rail. This is a fairly simple modification. There are clips that you can buy to snap a product onto a DIN rail. All we had to do was fasten it, and in all likelihood the customer could have done this for himself, but an easy modification. But our core competency is building transducers, and I'm sure that wasn't the core competency of the customer. He wanted to get the product in a ready-to-use form, and so we went out and got the DIN rail clips, and we ship it to him exactly as you see it, with them already attached. We've also got an example of a, I think this is a 600 amp Hall effect current sensor, and again the standard connector that comes with the unit. And then what they asked us to do was, we prefer not to use the connector assembly and or a integral cable. What we'd like to do is use a terminal strip. So again, easy modification for us, minimal cost. So you've got two virtually identical transducers, 600 amp Hall effect, one with a connector and one with a terminal strip. Jim, in preparation for today's video, I went out onto the manufacturing floor and I got a copy of a listing of all the model numbers or Y numbers for the PC5. And it's interesting, this is one of our more popular AC power transducer models, and if you can look at the back page here with me, you can see that we're now up to, the last Y number entry was actually made on June the 3rd of 2011, so just a few days ago. And we're up to Y number 211. So that means that over the life of, or over the history of the model PC5, we've had customers come to us and ask for 211 different iterations of the model PC5. Just to illustrate what some of those PC5 iterations entail, just looking at the Y number sheet, a Y41, the customer wanted a 25 volt AC input. A Y44, a 50 millivolt output. These are all slightly different versions of the standard specification. A Y51, a 25-second time constant filter. Let me see if I can find another one, interesting one here. I think we had one. Oh, here's a customer, a Y52. They wanted us to accommodate a side mount. So as you can see, the standard mount for the PC5 is on the bottom of the can, and our customer wanted to be able to mount this, somehow mount it to a panel and have a side mount. So that was another special Y number request that we were able to accommodate. And again, I want to stress, Jim, as we talked about earlier, it's not expensive.
Nope.
What's a typical, I know you're familiar with Y numbers, you work with them all the time. What Y numbers range from as little as?
I'd say we started around $40 for a Y number modification, and it can go up as much as $150 depending on the complexity of that specific modification.
Okay, so the price range may be $40 to $150. A base price of a PC5 is maybe around, depending on the input and full scale range, might be a $600 base price transducer. So we're talking about maybe a 8 to maybe as much as 20% premium for the Y number, but again, it matches the customer application. For one unit. That's an important point. We're not talking about requiring the customer to buy hundreds or dozens of these units. We'll do it for an order quantity of 1. I guess that's our segment of Ask the Experts today. And again, if you have questions relating to a standard product or a modified standard product or a custom product, please give our Technical Insight salespeople a call at 1-800-537-6732 or go to our website, www.ohiosemitronics.com.